So, when you think about Artemis II, the first time in over 50 years we're sending a crew around the moon, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it kind of feels like a final practice run, right? Like a dress rehearsal before the main event. But what if I told you that way of thinking is, well, just not the whole story? Let's get into why this mission is so much more than that. You hear this idea floating around that Artemis II is basically a low-risk shakedown cruise. It's a concept we've kind of inherited from past programs, like the early Apollo or space shuttle missions, where the first crewed flight was really just about proving the vehicle could get up to orbit and come back safely. The real deep space challenges, that's a problem for another day. But here's the thing. That's totally wrong. Artemis II is not a rehearsal. Not even close. It's the real deal, an all-in test of our ability to survive out there, beyond the cozy confines of our planet. And the reason why is actually pretty simple. Deep space is a completely different animal than low Earth orbit. The International Space Station, for all its amazing complexity, is still tucked safely inside Earth's protective magnetic field. Flying in orbit is just not practice for flying to the moon. It's a whole new ballgame. And when you look at the details, the differences are just huge. In low Earth orbit, we are shielded from the absolute worst cosmic radiation. But out in cislunar space, that huge stretch of emptiness between Earth and the moon, the astronauts are completely exposed. In orbit, you've got GPS telling you where you are. Out there, you're on your own. And coming home isn't just faster, it's a violently different kind of reentry. So to prove it can actually survive in this incredibly hostile environment, the Orion spacecraft has to pass 4 critical trials during the Artemis II mission. Seriously, you should think of it like a gauntlet, a series of make-or-break tests that have never, ever been done before with a crew on this new generation of hardware. And here they are, the 4 pillars of that gauntlet. Number 1, can the heat shield survive the absolute inferno of coming back from the moon? Number 2, can the ship and its crew handle the intense, non-stop radiation of deep space? 3, can it figure out how to get home without any GPS? And finally, number 4, can the crew and the capsule itself survive the crushing forces of a high-energy return? Okay, let's start with that first trial, surviving the heat. To pull this off, Orion uses a process called ablation, and it's wild. The shield is literally designed to burn up and disintegrate. It's basically sacrificial armor, where the outer layers vaporize into gas, which then carries that extreme heat away from the capsule and the people inside. And this is where all that heat comes from. When Orion returns from the moon, it's going to slam into our atmosphere at nearly 11 kilometers per second. To put that in perspective, that's fast enough to get you from LA to New York in about 6 minutes. That insane speed compresses the air in front of it into a plasma that is hotter than the surface of the sun. So how on earth does Orion handle that kind of inferno? Well, it's a really smart, multi-layered defense. It all starts with the largest heat shield of its kind ever built. As that outer surface burns away, it creates this insulating char layer. And at the same time, the gases it produces literally push that superheated plasma away from the spacecraft. It's just an incredible piece of engineering. But extreme heat isn't the only thing out there trying to get you. Now we move on to the second trial, surviving the invisible dangers that are everywhere in deep space. And yeah, I'm talking about radiation. And we're not talking about a small increase here. The scale of this problem is just immense. Once they're outside Earth's magnetic field, the Artemis II crew is going to be exposed to a dose of radiation that is orders of magnitude higher than what astronauts on the ISS get. They'll have to fly through the Van Allen belts twice and deal with a constant shower of galactic cosmic rays. So Orion's defense is this really clever combination of strategies. You've got passive shielding, things like its aluminum structure and even walls of water. You've got active monitors that are constantly checking the radiation levels. And crucially, the flight computers are rad-hardened, and they have triple redundancy, which means a single high-energy particle can't just zap the system and cause a total disaster. Okay, so the crew is protected, but what about actually getting home? There's a pretty fundamental problem here. With no GPS out there, how does Orion even know where it is or where it's supposed to be going? The answer is this beautiful mix of old school and new tech optical navigation. Orion basically uses a camera to snap pictures of the Earth, the moon, and the stars in the background. Then, by measuring their positions relative to each other, its computers can triangulate its own location with an accuracy of less than 100 meters, even from all the way out by the moon. It's like celestial navigation for the 21st century. It's awesome. Which brings us to the final hurdle, the fourth and final trial, surviving the pure, raw violence of that high-speed return to Earth. And this is about way more than just heat. This is about handling incredible physical forces. To manage these forces, Orion is going to pull off this incredibly cool maneuver called a skip entry. It's exactly what it sounds like. Just like skipping a stone on a lake, the capsule will use its shape to generate lift and literally bounce off the upper layers of the atmosphere once before it makes its final plunge. This gives it more time to slow down, and it reduces both the peak heat and the G-forces on the crew. But even with that clever skip maneuver, the crew is still going to experience up to 10 Gs of deceleration. To put that into perspective, that's like having 10 times your own body weight crushing you down into your seat. This mission is the test that proves that both the crew and the capsule can take that kind of punishment. So, why does all this matter so much? Why go through this gauntlet? Because every single one of these trials, the thermal protection, the radiation, the navigation, the reentry, it's not just about getting to the moon. It's about paving the road to Mars. Just take a look at these numbers. The reentry speed for Artemis II is already about 80% of what we expect for a crew coming back from Mars. The radiation data they're going to collect is absolutely vital for designing a spacecraft that can keep a crew safe on a multi-year mission to the Red Planet. Artemis II is the critical stepping stone we have to take. So here's the bottom line, the crucial takeaway. Artemis II is designed specifically to close the biggest gaps in our knowledge. It's going to give us the real-world high-stakes data on radiation, on reentry heating, on autonomous systems, all the things we absolutely have to know to confidently plan for humanity's future out in deep space. And that brings us right back to where we started. Artemis II is not a rehearsal. It is the decisive proof of concept. It's the one mission that proves the Orion spacecraft, all the ground systems, and the flight plans can actually support human exploration beyond our little home orbit. By passing these 4 incredible trials, Orion is proving that it has what it takes to brave the deep space environment. It's an amazing testament to engineering and to human ambition. Which really just leaves us with one final, inspiring question. Where will it take us next?